A moment that was supposed to be a celebration of achievement and collaboration across industries suddenly turned into a situation full of tension. The world watched with their own eyes when BTS's Jin and famous Korean actor Shin Se-kyung became guests on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. However, it was not the promotion of their latest project that was in the spotlight, but a sharp question from the host, Jimmy Fallon, who suddenly turned the studio atmosphere tense, making the two Korean stars silent for a moment, and ARMY immediately flooded social media with speculation and concern. He said, "Are you hiding something from us?" Once again, the atmosphere is breathtaking. Jimmy Fallon is known for his witty and relaxed style, making anyone sitting in his chair feel comfortable. But that night, Jimmy seems to have a different agenda. As the chat enters the 20th minute, after a laugh and a light quiz game, Jimmy looks at Jin and Shin Se-kyung, then throws questions that make the atmosphere instantly change. "You two seem very close. Are you hiding something from us?" Jin, who is usually agile, only had a small laugh while glancing at Shin Se-kyung. Meanwhile, Shin Se-kyung looked stiff for a moment before replying with a nervous smile, "We're just colleagues." But the gestures, the way they look at each other, and the changes in their facial expressions seemed to speak more than their spoken answers. Suddenly, social media exploded. The hashtag Jin Se-kyung Tonight immediately entered the list of trending global topics in just 8 minutes from the episode aired. ARMY, who had been known to be sensitive to changes in Jin's expression, immediately read the situation with deep suspicion. ARMY split. Support, suspicion, and conspiracy theories. ARMY reaction was unstoppable. Some fans felt that Jimmy Fallon's questions were too personal and cornered Jin, who is undergoing a post-enlistment transition and is maintaining his public image. There are also those who accuse Jimmy Fallon of trying to pursue high ratings by touching on sensitive topics. Jimmy Fallon crossed the line. Jin looked uncomfortable. "That was not okay," wrote one Twitter user with 150,000 likes. But on the other hand, a wave of conspiracy theories arose. Is it true that Jin and Shin Se-kyung have a relationship that is more than just colleagues? Is this a signal that the two will appear in a joint film project? Or even, there is a romance story deliberately covered up by the agency? Some fans even started collecting old evidence. Moments when Jin and Shin Se-kyung were at the same event, interviews with similar answers, and hidden interactions behind the stage. Many called Jimmy Fallon's question a code, that the international media had already begun to know something that had not yet been made public. Big Hit and Shin Se-kyung's agency have yet to give a statement. What makes this rumor even wilder is that until now, there has been no official clarification from Big Hit Entertainment or Shin Se-kyung's agency. Both chose to remain silent. The ARMY considered that if there was nothing, clarification should have been given from the beginning. But an internal source, who did not want to be named, said that there was awkwardness in the preparation for the event. It was even rumored that the original rundown script did not include the question, so allegations arose that Jimmy Fallon spontaneously inserted it. Is it a personal initiative? Or was there pressure from the show's producers? Jin and Shin Se-kyung's expressions become netizen analysis. The body language analysis of the fans was another highlight. Many noticed that the genie had time to play a ring on her finger, a habit that she rarely does while live. Meanwhile, Shin Se-kyung seemed to take a deep breath and hold back a smile. Some pop culture analysts say, "We live in an era where micro-expressions can turn into macro-interpretations. Every nod, every smile, fuels conspiracy theories." But this is not just entertainment. The impact is real. Not a few fans who felt disappointed even considered the event that night as a form of violation of the boundaries of privacy against their loved idols. Jimmy Fallon draws criticism, and support. Jimmy Fallon is not alone. Several Korean and international celebrities even voiced their opinions. A Korean actress posted on her Instagram story, "There is a fine line between spontaneity and irreverence. As a host, You need to know your limits. However, some defended Jimmy, stating that the American entertainment world is known to be more open and not as strict as Korea in discussing celebrity personal lives. Jimmy himself has not given an official statement, but in a radio interview the next day, he simply said, "I love having Jin back. He's hilarious." Shin was amazing too. I think people are reading too much into it. The impact continues to roll. Korean media react, not only international media. South Korean media also began to highlight this incident. Several outlets such as Dispatch and Naver took down articles about the public reaction to Jin and Shin Se-kyung's appearance at the event. Even Dispatch is said to be investigating further the relationship between the two, whether there is something more than just a co-worker. This certainly reminded the public of some of the previous scandals of Korean celebrities, where joint appearances at overseas events became the beginning of secret relationships, joint projects, or relationship cues. To this day, it remains a mystery whether Jin and Shin Se-kyung are working on a secret project together or are in a special relationship. But one thing is certain, the world will not stop discussing the events of that night. Fans around the world are waiting for the next step. Will there be clarification? Will their relationship be revealed? Or will it just sink in and be forgotten like so many other rumors? Until that happens, all eyes will remain on Jin and Shin Se-kyung. And the question from Jimmy Fallon will be remembered as one of the most shocking moments in the history of the talk show The Tonight Show. Is all this real or just a sensation? Jin and Shin Se-kyung's events on The Tonight Show are questionable: an awkward smile, a meaningful look, and a single question that made the world seem to stop breathing. That's the narrative that dominated the internet after BTS's Jin and actress Shin Se-kyung appeared together on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. But now that the euphoria has died down and the lies have begun to settle, one big question is shaking the minds of many. Is all this real? Or is it just a stage play that is very neatly arranged to create an explosion of media attention? In a world of entertainment dominated by popularity and trending figures, we as viewers are often faced with a dilemma. Is what we see really sincere? Or is it just sensational fabrications cleverly packaged by the entertainment industry? Fallon's question: spontaneous or prepared script? Let's look at it from the beginning. When Jimmy Fallon asked, "Are you hiding something from us?" Jin and Shin Se-kyung's response seems to be stuck between reality and scenario. Jin's face was a little stiff. Shin Se-kyung laughed, but with a nervous tone. There is no unequivocal answer, only we are just colleagues. However, is it really spontaneous? Many people stated that in a talk show like The Tonight Show, every segment, question, even response, is usually discussed and agreed upon in advance. Sure, improvisation can happen, but for a question as sensitive as that, is it possible that there is no coordination? If the question is indeed planned, then one conclusion arises. This is part of the buzz creation strategy. A strategy in which celebrities, hosts, and even the media work together in a symbiosis of mutualism for each other's interests, fame, public attention, and of course, the other, money. Are Jin and Shin Se-kyung really being matched up by the media? We cannot ignore that the entertainment world, both Korean and international, is very fond of creating visual couples that captivate the public. In fact, sometimes, two stars only need to appear together for a few minutes, and the media will immediately turn them into romantic gossip. This is what makes us ask, is Jin and Shin Se-kyung's closeness real, or is it just a play that is being shown to the public? Some netizens said that there were no previous signs of their relationship. They had never been seen interacting intensely on another show. No rumors had circulated before, and suddenly, boom. Just because of one question, the world seems to believe that both of them hold a big secret. Isn't this suspicious? Or are we just too easily caught up in the hype? Let's reverse the point of view. Perhaps it is precisely we as spectators who draw conclusions too quickly. We love mystery, drama, and romance. When we see two celebrities sitting together and being asked one ambiguous question, our minds immediately knit wild scenarios. This is where the media comes into play, taking advantage of the public's instinct hungry for drama, so that every moment goes viral, every expression becomes the subject of analysis, and every silence becomes a big question mark. The question now: are we being victimized by the biggest clickbait in talk show history? What does the public really want? Clarification or dream?